mental energy on a chosen course and pursuing that course. You likened it to physical fitness. At the mention of physical fitness, my mind went to somebody I know who is very, very interesting when it comes to the person's persona and then his physical fitness regime. The first time I found out that that person was into karate, I said, no, that is not possible. And then I saw a picture of him on social media actually practicing, and I said, whoa. I had him in the studio a couple of weeks ago, and Patrick Iwua is just such a calm, cool person, and that interview was watched across the world. Then the next day I saw his picture on social media and found out is a black belt.
Yes. Third degree
black belt. I said, wow, one day when I grow up, I'll be a white belt. Good evening, Patrick.
Good evening. How are you?
Oh, very well, very well. I have your brother here. He says, I have your brother Kofi in the studio. He says his whole life, discipline to him is like setting a martial arts goal and then pursuing it with marshalling all your physical and mental energy in pursuing that goal. He told me before we came on air that he's being mentored into martial arts by you. True or false?
That's true.
So
Kofi just joined my karate class, so we practice martial arts together.
There's something the two of you have in common: calm thinkers, and then you also execute. And then now you're adding martial arts. I probably should join your club.
Okay, maybe we should have a CEO martial arts club, right?
I think if you will have me, I'll sign up and then see how the discipline works out. But Patrick, you've been chairperson of the board with Kofi on Kofi's board for years. What kind of person is Kofi Dadzie?
Well, when I met Kofi and Ehi, I was really struck by a couple of things. One is they loved engineering, they loved learning, and they had great chemistry as co-founders for the organization. And they're incredibly hardworking and incredibly ambitious, right? So this was the first thing that struck me about Kofi and his co-founder. And then when I joined the board, the other thing that struck me was Kofi really listens. He's a very humble guy. He listens. He paid attention to the advice that he got from the board. He executed a lot of things that we advised him to do, and it made Rancard all the stronger for it. So, passionate about engineering, collegiality with his co-founder, hardworking, and humbling, and somebody who listens.
Let me ask you about the correlation between some of these attributes, and I'm very curious about martial arts. True. So Kofi tells me that he feels all of a sudden that he has discovered a new sense of energy, a new sense of drive and fulfillment in engaging in martial arts. As a leadership expert, how does martial arts come to bear in all this? Give me a sense of how you can link up hard work, execution, the goal-getting attitude that you mentioned, humility, and then also martial arts, since you straddle those two worlds.
Well, it actually embodies all the things that you described, right? So if you want to study the martial arts, you have to sort of enter it with a beginner's mind. You have to be humble to listen to your sensei, but you also have to have the drive to push yourself. You have to push yourself through difficulty. So you're pushing your body to do things that it might not already know how to do, right? And your body will try, but your mind is the thing that could give up before your body gives up. And so martial arts training sort of gives you this mental discipline to tough it out through difficulty. And then there's just working with a partner or partners in the dojo. You're learning from each other. You're helping each other along. So all of the things that you just described, you get through the martial arts. And then, of course, there's just just the physical exercise of it is good for you. It's good for your body. It's good for your mind.
So you are a third degree black belt, and now I'm finding out what you and Kofi have in common. Kofi tells me I shouldn't mention his belt on there because he's a beginner, but he's slightly ahead of me. So Patrick Iwa, Dr. Patrick Iwa, what will be your thoughts for Kofi as you leave us today?
So my thoughts for Kofi, well, I have great admiration for the work that Kofi has done over the years. I'm really glad to have him and honored to have him in my class. And I look forward to another journey with him. It was great working on his board, and it's really good being his sensei. So just bow to you, Kofi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patrick Iwa, founder of Ashesi University. Kofi wants to give you his own thoughts as well, so hold on for Kofi.
Sure. I bet I'm echoing what anybody who has had the privilege to work with Patrick would say. Absolutely inspiring, and not the remote kind of inspiring. The kind where you see this real gentleman close up. He opens up. He teaches you by example. He puts himself out there. He sticks through. He backs you up. And if those of us who are in his leadership class would be able to replicate the lessons that he reflects, we could change this nation and transform it fundamentally.
Thank you very much. Those are your thoughts, or Kofi's thoughts about Patrick. Patrick, you want to say a big thank you for joining us tonight. All right, so this is the Leaders Digest on Springboard, your virtual university, and those were the thoughts of Dr. Patrick Iwa, the founder of Ashesi University. You didn't know he was going to be on the show, but when you go for your next karate class, you know what you can talk about.
Absolutely.
But Patrick is just such an amazing person,
Yes.
and we are happy that he got to share his thoughts about you. Kofi, in this journey that we are on, you talk about excellence as being a journey. It's not an end that you arrive at, but it's something that you are continuously and relentlessly pursuing. I find something in common with a number of the leaders that we hang out with, the leaders that we work through with on different fronts. But one interesting commonality is engineering, and we've had this conversation before about engineers and your belief that engineers make very good managers. But it's just interesting how you guys connect and the number of dots that we can thread as we look at the two of you. Do you see yourself as having a lot of things in common with Patrick?
I certainly strive to have a lot of things in common with him. I think where Patrick raises the bar beyond many leaders I've interacted with is the way he eschews, the way he carries his personal discipline, the way he conveys that in his everyday life. And I got to observe Ashesi University in the early days. I visited that veranda, which was the front office,
Right.
which had the Brekusu campus design on the back wall. And I heard Patrick when he said, in 10 years we will be there. He wouldn't say we'll be there overnight. He wouldn't try and spin it up and impress anybody that there'll be an instant outcome. He would project what would seem like a really far future you couldn't see,
And work towards it.
and then work
Hold on a second as I bring on somebody else who you would love to hear. You mentioned that you and Patrick, you aspire to have some of what Patrick has. I think the two of you have something in common, the pursuit of the good society. And I have somebody on the line who knows all about the pursuit of the good society because he's a director of the Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa that you both belong to, yourself and Patrick. Good evening, Kweku Sechiado.
Hi, good evening, Albert.
Kweku, thanks for joining us on Springboard of Virtual University as we look at leadership, and we are just talking about the good society, and we just had Patrick on the line talking about Kofi Dadzie and how he knows Kofi Dadzie. Let's bring you on as a director of ALIWA, or the Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa, and also a proponent of the good society that Patrick belongs to. Tell us your own perspective about Kofi Dadzie.
Well, Hi, Kofi.
Kweku, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and it's wonderful to hear your voice and to know that you're in the studio in the great company of Albert Okran. So, Kofi Dadzie, a few things come to mind when you talk about Kofi Dadzie. Kofi Dadzie is a gentleman. He's a gentleman's gentleman. Kofi Dadzie is a brilliant leader, soft-spoken, but he's got steely strength and very ethical and cerebral, extremely knowledgeable. He's got a depth of knowledge about Greek and Roman civilization like nobody I've ever encountered. But it's not just abstract knowledge for its own sake. He's able somehow to connect it to our reality, to Africa, to African philosophy, and I don't know. I mean, Kofi is learned, and he applies his knowledge to what he does. So it's not just a techie. He doesn't just make things or fix things or he's not just an IT buff. He's a lot more than that. But above all, he's an exceptional person and leader. If I were, I'd love to be Kofi's student.
Wow. Charlie, I'll record the last 3 minutes of your description and put it on YouTube. Whenever Kofi wants to be inspired, he just listen. 1, a gentleman's gentleman. 2, a brilliant leader. 3, soft-spoken. 4, steel strength. 5, ethical. 6, cerebral. 7, extremely knowledgeable. Wow. Yeah. Ability to connect Greek and Roman civilization and situate it in the African context. Kofi, let me borrow your thoughts or just take advantage of this moment to throw light on the Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa. We don't often get to do this in the media, in the public space, but for the benefit of those who are asking, what is this ALIWA or Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa? And what is it that would have Kweku Sechiado, Kofi Dadzie, Patrick Iwa, Albert Okran, Comfort Okran in the same group? So for the benefit of our listeners, just give a sense of what ALIWA is about.
All right, so I'll keep it short. So ALIWA, African Leadership Initiative, okay, let me put it this way. So African Leadership Initiative began about 2002. It was a project initiated by Ken Oforiatta, who was a Henry Crown Fellow. And as a Henry Crown Fellow, you were supposed to initiate a leadership project. From a project, you're to initiate a project that gives back. It assumes that you've been fairly successful, you've done fairly well in your area or field of work, but you've crossed the point where you've reached an inflection point where you want your success to grow into significance, to impact beyond yourself and your immediate associates, whether that's family or friends or mates or whatever. So Ken Oforiatta began Africa Leadership Initiative in 2002, and I was a member, myself and Patrick and a number of others were members of the fellows of the inaugural class. And every 3 years or so, there's a new class. And each one of us is also supposed to begin or initiate another project of their own, so that you have multiplier projects as each fellow initiates their own project to impact society. The wonderful thing about Africa Leadership Initiative is that although it began in Ghana, it subsequently expanded, and then it morphed into Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa, which incorporates a number of leaders, political, business, social, academic leaders, the arts and culture, people in arts and culture and so on in Nigeria. And so there are people in Nigeria, for example, former Minister of Technology and Communication, the current head of the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission in Nigeria, former Minister for Industries, and so on. A number of people like that. Beyond that, it's been replicated in other parts of the world.
Make me a promise, Kwaku Sijadu. Make me a promise that you will come on the show with AC Ansa to talk about Aliwa.
I will do that.
Because we should talk about a good society and bring it into the Ghanaian context.
Sure, absolutely. And so you've got, just to sum up, you've got the Aliwa, which is West Africa, and then it's been replicated in the rest of Africa. So you've got East Africa Leadership, you've got South Africa Leadership, you have India Leadership Initiative, you have Middle East, you have China, you have Central America, and so on and so forth. So this seed that was planted here in Ghana has now become a global phenomenon with leadership initiatives, and each fellow initiating their own project to impact society. And all of the fellows are members of the Aspen Global Leadership Network. And we raise money and do things for society, and we promote ethical leadership. So yes, I'll be delighted to come to the studio with
Let's make it happen, and it will happen soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Kwaku Sijadu. And if now you understand why you will see Aspen Global Leadership Institute on my profile. That's how come it happened, and that's why Springboard keeps going from strength to strength, because that is our leadership project, Comfort and I, spinning out in different directions, the road show, the radio show, just giving back to society and making this world a better place, one person at a time. So this is Springboard, your virtual university, and tonight we are hanging out with Kofi Dadzie in our Leaders Digest. We've had two wonderful leaders swinging in to join the discussion. When is Kofi? He has fans, so big people like Kwaku Sijadu and then Dr. Patrick Ewua can come in, and we can have buy one get two more for free. But are you a trader or a merchant looking to grow your business? Then now is the time to grow faster and go further with EcoBank's Digi Banking Pack. The EcoBank Digi Banking Pack is designed specifically with the growth of your business in mind. The benefits that we offer include zero opening balance, no monthly service charges, automatic access to EcoBank's payment and collection solutions, a loan of up to 200,000 Ghana cedis, and much more. The EcoBank Digi Banking Pack also comes with capacity building and financial literacy programs to help you grow your business. To find out more about how to grow faster and go further with a bank that understands your business, visit the nearest EcoBank branch or call toll free on 3225 or email us on digipackgh@ecobank.com. Let me tell you about EcoBank. EcoBank mobile app is the CIMG product of the year 2018. EcoBank, 2 times CIMG Hall of Fame bank. EcoBank is the first and the only national accredited entity to the Green Climate Fund. And of course, EcoBank is the Pan-African bank. Let me go for a brief commercial break. When I come back, let me find out from Kofi your biggest fears and your biggest source of joy. Please enjoy.
Charlie, where are you?
Bossman, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Wale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
Springboard, your virtual university. It is 17 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. My guest is Kofi Dadzie, co-founder of Rancard and a fellow of the Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa. And on the show tonight, he has shared his thoughts about what is significant and the fact that to execute and lead in anything significant, it is significantly difficult, but you have to get it done. Now, let's go to our Data is King segment and talk about fairness. Victor Hugo says, being good is easy. What is difficult is being just or being fair. Let's find out from Amos what his thoughts are in our Data is King segment. Amos, what do you have for today?
Tonight, we continue our presentation on the leadership qualities. So the Data is King segment is premised on the fact that statistical data organized and presented in the right context improves understanding, reduces uncertainty, and facilitates accurate prediction of outcomes.
Right. And so what's our statistic of the day?
Our statistic of the day is on fairness.
Right.
58% of workers and 45% of chief financial officers cited fairness as the second most important attribute of business leaders, according to a survey by Robert Half Management Resources, being second only to integrity, which is what we presented last week. The Harvard Business Review report titled "Why It's So Hard to Be Fair" shows that there is a good business case to promote fairness, particularly what is called process fairness.
Right.
For instance, 17% of ex-employees who felt they were treated unfairly filed wrongful termination lawsuit versus only 1% of those who felt they were treated fairly. This led to an estimated cost saving of $1.28 million for every 100 employees dismissed. So our concluding thought for tonight is related to a quote from Wes Fessler, who says that fairness is man's ability to rise above his prejudices. So tonight we are asking, as a leader, are you able to rise above your prejudices in order to treat people fairly, whether friend or foe?
I can tell you what, it is easier said than done. No matter what the rule book says, prejudice plays a role in leadership. You are human. I mean, Amos, you are very troublesome. Whenever you come and remind us of what we should be doing that we are not doing. But it is important that we have this kind of conversation. Let's find out next week what the next attribute will be that leaders should aspire to. So far, number one is integrity. Number two is fairness.
Yes.
Talking about fairness, it is unfair to have a discussion with Kofi Dadzie and bring on Patrick Iwa and bring on Kweku Sechiado and not bring on his boss, because every man has a boss. Good evening, Ifwa Dadzie.
Good evening, Mr.
How are you, Ifwa?
I'm fine, thank you.
You should see the look on Kofi's face. No, it's priceless, even without talking. Just the look on his face to know that his boss is on air. Okay, so for the benefit of those who are listening, this is Kofi's domestic boss. This is Mrs. Ifwa Dadzie. Ifwa, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I'm very well, thank you.
I'm very happy for you tonight because the description of your husband by Kweku Sechiado, we'll record it and put it on YouTube and play it for his mother-in-law so that she sees that Charlie, the man is a good man. They say he's a gentleman, a brilliant leader, soft-spoken, steel strength, ethical, cerebral, and extremely knowledgeable. Charlie, Kweku concluded by saying that he want to be your husband's student. Charlie, how did you feel when you're listening to that?
It was good. So that most of it I know already have the benefit of seeing. So it was really heartwarming to be hearing that from Kweku Sechiado.
Let me find out from you. You get to live with him every day, so you see him in his down moments, his up moments. What kind of person is Kofi Dadzie?
Well, I would say Kofi is primarily a family-oriented person. He's an amazing husband and father. He's also a very passionate person, and he applies his passion to all that he does. He's also a deep thinker. He's highly analytical. And in some way, I would say he's an all or nothing kind of person. If you wanted me to summarize, I would say he's an all or nothing. So he's either all in or he's not. That's how he operates.
Family-oriented, passionate, deep thinker, highly analytical, all or nothing. I should write a book about Kofi Dadzie. I'll make a lot of money. Is he a romantic?
He's very romantic. He's not just romantic, he's also chivalrous.
Wow.
That's a very, very nice combination.
Charlie. Ifwa, thank you very much. You have given us enough food for thought. We'll write a book about your husband. I want to say a big thank you to you for joining us and for loaning him to us for tonight. And every time that he gets to come to join us as part of the adjunct faculty of Springboard of Virtual University.
Thank you so much.
Have a brilliant evening.
Same to you. Bye.
All right. Charlie, Kofi, no, but before I know Ifwa is still listening. I know she's gone, but before, Charlie, how do you respond to your wife who says you are a family-oriented person, passionate, deep thinker, highly analytical, all or nothing, and she says you are romantic? Charlie, what do you have to say in your defense?
I'm lost.
Talk into the microphone so that your listeners can hear you, because today is for you.
I am lost for words, and she knows me.
No.
So.
Your mic was off, so give it to us one more time.
Okay. I am lost for words. She knows me, and I'm lost for words. I don't know how to respond.
Tell her something. You're going back home.
So I love her dearly, very much. She has become my best and intimate friend. She gets to see me in my weakest moments, along with my fears. She gets to observe. She is my greatest supporter. She is my fan. She's my strength. We pray together. We worship together. We talk about the future. We're raising kids.
All?
Well, a whole lot more.
So, all right, it is 10 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock, and this is Kofi Dadzie telling us that he prays and worships with his wife and a few other things. All right, so it's 10 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. Kofi, what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is not living up to my own ideals and aspirations.
Why?
I think from a young age, I'm fortunate to have both of my parents still alive. I have parents who instilled and inspired certain virtues and aspirations in me. And I think I adopted them in a deep way. And ultimately, they involve being true to myself, being faithful, and taking all the privilege I've received to have impact in my society. And I just feel like I'm still so far off from bringing those fully to bear. So my biggest fear really is not living up to those ideals and aspirations which I have adopted.
And that's why you think excellence is a journey that you are on, always pursuing, always striving.
Pursuit.
I'll come back to you, but let me go back to Amos for our game changer segment today. And Amos has a very interesting story about how you can think you have got something all covered until you find out that it is not like you thought. Amos, what do you have for us today?
So, game changer for tonight. This is a beautiful piece written by Jojo, and shout out to Jojo, who is on an international assignment. And it's on checking your assumptions. Mosquito and Kodak. And Jojo says, a few days ago, I was carrying a plate of jollof out of the kitchen when I saw something out of the corner of my eye. It was a fat mosquito flying slowly, probably full from dinner. I knew my time had come. Since I was a child, I've always wanted to catch a mosquito with one hand, and today was my lucky day. Quick as a flash, I caught the mosquito with my right fist and slapped my fist against my thigh to make sure it was dead. When I opened my hand to observe my victorious moment, a truly distressing sight awaited me. The mosquito was gone. I had missed. As I started to laugh at myself, I realized something. All the time I was slapping my thigh with my fist to kill the mosquito had been in vain, because the mosquito was never there to begin with. Today, our game changer is checking your assumptions. Assumptions are an essential part of the human condition. Everything we do is based on assumptions. For instance, if you saw a clear liquid in a plastic water bottle, you would probably assume it was water, even though it could just as easily be rubbing alcohol. Although assumptions help us to make sense of the world around us, they can also get us into trouble when we base our decisions on the wrong assumptions. Kodak learned this the hard way. In the 90s, Kodak dominated the film market, selling 85% of camera hardware and 90% of the film needed to develop pictures. When one of their engineers first invented the digital camera, Kodak execs told them, "That's cute, but don't tell anyone about it." Kodak's decision not to prioritize developing the digital camera was based on the assumption that the superior picture quality of analog photography would keep industry sales booming in the long term. That wrong assumption meant that Kodak missed out on the digital photography revolution, and that is why today a company once worth $31 billion is on the verge of bankruptcy. To close, I would like to leave you with a quote from Canadian lawyer Robin Sharma. Remember, we see the world not as it is, but as we are. Most of us see through the eyes of our fears and our limiting beliefs and our false assumptions. This week, let us re-evaluate the underlying assumptions behind the challenges we face so we can deal with things as they really are. This has been the Game Changer on Springboard. Have a phenomenal week.
Phenomenal is the word, and it's 4 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. Before I come to Kofi Dadzie to round up for us, let me just say that, Charlie, assumptions, it is so real. We easily think that we've got it all covered until we realize that it's not like we thought it was. Kofi, as we wrap up, what will be your thoughts for our listeners? You've shared some very interesting insights today, and your friends who joined us, Kweku Sichado, Patrick Ewua and Ifwa Dadzie have shared some very interesting insights about you. But what is your own response, Kofi?
First of all, I can't leave here without expressing to Kweku Setiado that those were very kind words, and I aspire to be all those things he said. I like the points on assumptions. You can spread these to any facet of life and are engaging. I think a lot of the time we should test and revisit the assumptions on which we're doing what we're doing. We're engaged in what we are, especially when we assume things about people we don't really know. And as a result, we're interacting with them on that basis.
You see where the prejudice comes in. Sometimes, even in leadership, the issue about prejudice and fairness, is there a connection between the two?
There absolutely is. So when I was listening to the point on prejudice, I was thinking on choices. We make choices all the time, and we make choices because of assumptions. And so if there was a way in which we could get more information, whether it's reading more or talking, engaging more, and having an open mind, getting to understand why people do or say or be or are where they are, then we might respond differently. We might make our lives, if not the world itself, a better place if we would learn a bit more in such a way that it would inform the assumptions we have and why we react to what's around us in the way we do.
If I give you a choice to give us one word to chew on as you take leave of us today, what word will it be?
It would be excellence. And it would be reflecting on excellence as a relentless pursuit. And so let's find examples. Both examples that are far away and that we probably have to see somewhere, as well as those that are near us and that we can easily emulate. Excellence.
It's been an excellent discussion with you, Kofi Dadzie, as we have explored your values, your choices, your persona, and then your learnings. I look forward to having another discussion like this another time. But in the meantime, in between time, I want to say a big thank you to the whole Springboard team for today. Coming up next is a Walk with Jesus, and it's about how to be a Christmas family as my brother, Elder Amos Kevin Annan, joins the Pastor Rancard Abosi. Until we come your way again next week, my name is Albert Okran. God bless you, and God bless you. Good night.
Change the world.